idea of having a studio and trying to fill a studio with customers is if you get, say, 10 people in your class, you don't want them in just for one class. You want them in continuously. So then those 10 people tell more people that tell more people. And you, like, before you know it, you've got a full studio and you don't actually have to do much advertising because everyone's in there already. So looking after the people that you have is really, I really believe is really important. And that's kind of the biggest ethos we've had for Heart Stance and Fitness, is that we're a big family. And, you know, we have a big sign on our wall that says be nice or leave. And we really do mean that. You know, if anyone's mean, then they're not welcome. And, you know, it's trying to make sure that everyone is welcome. And that's how I feel personally, that's how we kind of keep the business going, and that's how it continues to grow, because everyone loves what you're doing. So
ultimately, you just have to dig a bit deeper. If you ask a man, like, hey, why do you want personal training, or why are you joining the gym? Everyone, 99% of their answers would be, I just want to get fit. But I just want to get fit for me versus you versus the next person is completely different, right? Because we all have different outcomes that we want to achieve. So I think it's just a famous saying, like peeling the onion. You just need to continuously ask, okay, why is that? Okay, why is that? Until you actually get to the real reason and the motivation. Because you find that out, then you've hooked them in for a good amount of time, versus if you're just surface level, I just want to get fit. Okay, great. Or there's a treadmill, go run. Like, that doesn't get to the deep level of what they actually want to achieve.
When I started out, the only thing that I cared about was marketing. That was the only thing, because I just needed people through the door. I think when you're first starting out, you just want people through the door. The problem, though, with my thinking at that time was that once I kind of got my head around getting people through the door, there was no infrastructure in place with regards to keeping them. So retention isn't an issue in your first 3 to 6 months. It's just not an issue, because retention is just people just come in, you're the trainer, you're delivering an amazing service. As I say, I was probably had like 1 or 2% cancellation rate during the first year, and you think that you're amazing as a result of that. But the moment you try and expand, and then as people are coming up to their year anniversary and beyond, they start leaving. And it's a case that's when all of a sudden then it's a case of, right, we really need to look at the systems that we've got in place with regards to retention. And the reports that you then pull off to see where each member is at different stages of the journey. Because I'm not being funny, someone that becomes and signs up to full membership, the way that you their expectations and the way that you treat them during that first 3 months of being a full member, that's very different to how you're going to treat them, say, 12 months later. And the problem for a lot of established businesses is that they then start to neglect the long-standing members because they just think that loyalty is enough to keep them. And all its effort goes into getting people through the front door, and then they're not focusing on that bit. And then that's when the cancellation rates start to increase. So I guess if I am in the first 6 months of business, I think that marketing and sales is probably the thing I would want. I would be more interested in becoming an expert in before being too concerned about things like retention. It's not to say retention is not important, but those things I would prioritize ahead. And then the retention skills, I'd say they come a little bit later.
One thing that is so missed out by new businesses is thinking about something referred to as customer lifetime value. And that is how long that customer stays with you. And that is going to be directly impacted by, do they get the physical reward of what they wanted? Do they get like physical results? Do they enjoy the process? And is there something in there that they can be proud about themselves with? If you get those 3 things nailed in the time scale that they've bought, then you're going to keep that customer for a lot longer. If you don't get those 3 things nailed, you're always going to have to come up with new novel ideas to generate new leads, because people aren't staying. That's the big crux of this. I want trainers and facility owners to think, how can my marketing be so good that I barely ever have to find new clients, because I get filled up with brilliant people and they stay?